Chapter 61. The Strong Ones Flocked. I heard the inspector of our Jiangnan-based city is about to be replaced, Zhu Tao said, his expression shifting. Now that Yang Wu has shown such power, headquarters will certainly pay more attention. After all, he's from Jiangnan-based city. Maybe one day Yang Wu will really be our superior. Fate is strange, President Zhou Zhengyang said with a helpless shake of his head. The president of the Limit Hall and his 3 deputy supervisors, the 4 titans of the Dojo of Limits in Jiangnan-based city, had been waiting for a long time. Look, Zhou added with a low whistle, the head of the Shu family from Jiangnan is here as well, one of the 12 families of the HR Alliance. The man in question was an elderly, white-haired gentleman, slightly stout, clearly in his 70s or 80s, but still carrying the bearing of someone who'd occupied high office for decades. 4 aides trailed behind him. Even people from the Thunder Marshal Hall have come, someone murmured. They're here. Zhu Tao looked up to the sky and smiled. I wonder who headquarters sent this time. It's because of 2 things, Zhou said. The Beast Tide and Yang Wu, this super talent. Honestly, if it weren't for the Beast Tide, headquarters might never have realized how powerful Yang Wu already is. Indeed, Zhu Tao agreed. He's reached War God Peak. No, he might be more terrifying than a mere War God Peak, Zhou breathed. Didn't you see the satellite footage of that fight? The force Yang Wu had unleashed during the battle had not been ordinary War God Peak power. A moment later, a dark, saucer-shaped fighter jet sliced through the sky and landed without interference. No one dared stop it. War God-level heavyweights who had already gathered, the mayor of Jiangnan-based city, and senior officials from the political and military sectors came out to meet it. A big shot had arrived. Silence fell as the saucer descended and its hatch opened. A lean man stepped out, mustachioed and appearing around 40. He moved with a slow, almost ritual calm, fiddling with a string of prayer beads as if in meditation. "Inspector," people greeted him. His face was solemn. There were faint, glistening tears at the corners of his eyes. Standing there, he made the space around him feel darker, as if the tens of meters nearby had shrunk into a circle of shadow with him at the center. People felt the weight of him like the presence of a deity. He acknowledged the war god-level heavyweights, the high officials from Jiangnan and Kyoto, and the generals who had come out to welcome him, then walked straight toward Yang Wu's residence. The rest followed into the neighborhood where Yang lived. Only after this cluster of important figures entered did conversation begin to ripple outside. Yang Wu had been sleeping hard, exhausted, but with so many powerful people assembled, he had long since been woken. When he reached the living room, the lean man opened his eyes slightly. Under that look, Yang Wu felt briefly as if he had been pulled out of the world. "Inspector Wang," Yang Wu nodded. "Please sit." The inspector beckoned to the seat opposite him. At home, Yang Wu felt he could be casual, but the presence in front of him made him somewhat uneasy. A planetary-level warrior was far stronger than the war god Peak. The difference explained why he had not yet completed his promotion mission. "May I ask why you came to see me?" Yang Wu asked after taking his seat. "Zhao and Zhuge told me you'd reached War God Peak. Is that true?" Inspector Wang studied Yang Wu and nodded, a faint look of satisfaction on his face. Then his gaze sharpened. "Is it true that you've reached the War God realm?" Yang Wu didn't hide it. "Yes, I've reached War God." He understood the implications. Once tied to the Dojo of Limits, so long as Hong's legacy stood, no one could touch him. The Dojo of Limits was the strongest martial organization on the planet. Its founder, Hong, was an unrivaled powerhouse whose deterrent was greater than any state sanction. Under their protection, Yang Wu could train without worry. "Can you demonstrate it?" Inspector Wang asked, his eyes hardening. Yang Wu's face went bleak. "How do you want me to demonstrate?" "Use your full strength and punch me," Inspector Wang said, pointing at himself. "What?" For a moment, Yang Wu thought he'd misheard. "Kill him?" Zhu Tao and the others, who had been half relaxed, snapped awake, eyes wide. "I said, punch me with your full force," the inspector repeated. "All right, take my best shot!" Yang Wu roared. The villa trembled as his power surged, the very foundations groaning under the strain. Windows exploded in a shower of glass as he vaulted forward with a thunderous shout. Faster than the speed of sound, he carved a wake through the air, compressed currents whipping up as he closed the distance. His fist drove down in a relentless series of strikes. Fast, strong, cruel. Enhanced by the 9 heavy Thunderblade, Yang Wu unleashed his full might, an energy output comparable to the baseline strength of many planetary-level warriors. The impact crashed down like a mountain collapsing. Everyone present involuntarily flinched and then exhaled in genuine, involuntary admiration. The force alone could have flattened the group. If Yang Wu had aimed at them, not one would likely have survived a single hit. Inspector Wang remained seated, an expression of stunned recognition crossing his features. 9 heavy Thunderblade? He murmured. Then, surprisingly, he didn't try to dodge. Only when Yang Wu's fist was almost upon him did the inspector extend his gaunt, withered right hand. He unleashed his internal power and grabbed the incoming fist. There was a strange silence in that instant, as if the world held its breath. Then a clang, like a giant bronze bell, rang out. The bluestone floor around them sank and exploded upward in an earth-shattering blast. Fragments and dust rolled into a shockwave that punched a column of debris into the sky. Yang Wu felt a recoil that matched the force he'd put into the blow. Clearly, Inspector Wang possessed extraordinary control over his strength. Chapter 62, Hong's Summoning. Everyone stared at the two who stood motionless, and for a moment the room fell silent. Then a cold intake of breath swept through like a sudden gust of wind. Faces went pale, expressions froze. Yang Wu's full-force strike had been enough to kill any of them outright. His power shocked everyone to the core. "So strong," Inspector Wang murmured, a look of hopeful excitement crossing his face. "You're extraordinary." "A real man should be like that." Several people breathed, unable to hide their admiration. "He actually took it?" Shu Gang gasped. The head of the Shu family exhaled slowly, tamping down his own surprise. "Everyone, Yang Wu is a member of my Limit Martial Hall," Inspector Wang announced, smiling. The tone was gentle but absolute. "You may all leave." An inspector of the Limit Martial Hall, one of the 5 great inspectors, was a top-tier authority. In that organization, the Hallmaster and the 5 inspectors were the real decision-makers. The Hallmaster himself rarely intervened. When an inspector made a declaration, it carried the weight of the hall. No one present, however powerful they believed themselves to be, dared to argue. Yang Wu's single, potentially lethal blow had already demonstrated his strength. One by one, the onlookers filed out. Recruiting Yang Wu? They didn't have the resources or status of the Limit Martial Hall. And besides, the inspector had already spoken. "So strong, and he's made such frightening progress. His punch is already at God of War peak, isn't it?" someone whispered. "Far beyond that," another answered. "Grandpa, are you thinking of recruiting him?" Shu Gang asked tentatively, beginning to understand his family's ambitions. The Su patriarch chuckled softly. "You still underestimate Yang Wu. No matter how influential our Su family is in HR, we couldn't keep someone like him if he chose to go with the Limit Martial Hall. He's so young, the possibilities are endless. Even if he isn't at inspector level now, with his talent he could surpass an inspector one day." He sighed, half in pride, half in regret at the raw energy of youth. "He may well become the next Hong." "Beyond War God?" Shu Gang's eyes widened. The Shu head only gave a wry smile and shook his head, saying no more. Inspector Wang turned back to Yang Wu. "Your potential is even more terrifying than the rumors said," he said with a smile. Yang Wu's mouth twitched. He felt a little awkward. His so-called talent was mostly the result of an external advantage he'd been given. Still, he knew roughly where he stood. Reaching God of War peak basically meant he was on track to become an inspector. But titles and power didn't interest him. Money and fame meant little. His aims were different, and in truth, higher than those of Hong and the Thunder God. He was focused on the promotion mission that lay ahead. "Connect me to the Hallmaster," Inspector Wang ordered. A cold voice filled the room. "Hallmaster, Yang Wu's strength is as expected. His basic physical quality has already reached God of War peak," Inspector Wang reported. Yang Wu stood silent. To most people, Hong, the Hallmaster, was the supreme power in the world. The man's name alone carried weight. For the first time since anyone could remember, the Hallmaster's expression changed minutely. The corner of his mouth twitched into something like a smile. Inspector Wang's breath caught. Hong rarely showed any warmth, even to other Beyond War God level existences. Bring the two of them to headquarters, Hong said, cutting off the connection. Inspector Wang explained. The Hall Master wants you to undergo the War God Palace assessment. He also has something to tell you. Yang Wu nodded. He had expected this sooner or later, but not so soon. Still, based on what he knew of Hong's character, he trusted that the Hall Master wouldn't set a trap. If it had been anyone else, he might have refused. They arrived at the Limit Marshal Hall's headquarters, a colossal structure shaped like a spaceship. Yang Wu knew it was indeed a spacecraft, though it was badly damaged. The hull showed cracks, and a giant hatch, dozens of meters across, hung open. The building was enormous, tens of thousands of meters long and roughly 100 meters high. Armed guards clustered outside, keeping the entrance secure. A blue beam of light shot out from the ship and enveloped Yang Wu and Inspector Wang. Beep! Inspector Wang, Mr. Yang, please enter, an electronic voice intoned. Only a very small number of high-ranking officials may enter the headquarters, Inspector Wang said with a smile. If you try to force your way in without permission, the defenses will kill you. Come, we should go in. Inside, most personnel wore blue robes, a rare few wore red. A fair-skinned girl in blue approached them with a warm smile and perfect Mandarin. This is the lounge, Mr. Yang, Inspector Wang. Please rest here. The Hall Master will summon you later. She bowed politely and left. They chatted for a while when a red-robed man appeared at the door. Yang Wu, the Hall Master summons you, he announced. Understood. Inspector Wang, I'll go in first. Yang Wu rose and followed the man through the corridor. Inspector Wang closed his eyes and began to twirl the prayer beads in his hand. Then, silently, he let the hallway swallow them both. Chapter 63 Hong, my path is not alone. All right, Inspector Wang, I'll go in first. Yang Wu followed the red-robed man. Go. Inspector Wang closed his eyes and began to twirl the prayer beads in his hand. They moved quickly down the corridor and stopped outside a quiet reception room. The red-robed man bowed lightly and left. A cold voice called from inside. Yang Wu, come in. Yes, Hallmaster. Yang Wu entered obediently. The reception room was dim and nearly empty, with only 2 floor cushions. Hong, the black-haired man, sat cross-legged on one cushion and motioned to the other. Sit. Yang Wu settled onto the cushion across from him. It's only been a little over a month since we last met, and you've given me quite a surprise. Hong's lips curved. He already knew something of Yang Wu's background. An ordinary family, a mundane life in a base city for more than 20 years. Then suddenly, one day, an extraordinary talent appeared. Yang Wu shot up like a comet, becoming a peerless genius in people's eyes and, in less than half a year, reaching peak god of war. Either Yang Wu was truly an unparalleled prodigy, or he had received a great opportunity. Hong believed the latter more likely. Whatever the cause, you've proven your ability. That's a blessing for humanity. His words were sincere. He wanted more powerhouses among humans to stand against the monsters. I have 2 choices to offer you for your future. First, remain in Hongning Base City and join the Special Operations Group, or apply to be a training camp instructor, or take another in-city post later. Second, be dispatched to other base cities to serve as an inspector. These are important choices. Hong's tone turned solemn. For gods of war in the Dojo of Limits, staying or being dispatched were the 2 life paths. Once chosen, it was hard to change. Unless one broke through to Beyond War God and gained inspector privileges from the dojo itself. A notification flickered in Yang Wu's mind. You have triggered a mission. 2 choices. Accept, reject. Stay. Be dispatched. Yang Wu hesitated. Either option might lock him into a place for a long time. With the golden finger situation, the constant attention it attracted, staying somewhere quietly felt impossible unless he became invincible. Staying meant being tied down. Being dispatched meant frequent base city duties. Neither appealed. For the first time since missions began, Yang Wu faced one he truly didn't want to accept. Hallmaster, actually, I don't want either. Yang Wu shook his head. Hong raised an eyebrow. He wondered if Yang Wu's sudden rise had gone to his head, if he was refusing subservience to found his own faction. Yang Wu read the expression and hurried to clarify. I'll remain in the Dojo of Limits, but I don't want any official post. My current strength is respectable, but not invincible. Right now, I just want to cultivate quietly. I don't want anyone disturbing me, not even the Hallmaster. Hong's face changed. His eyes brightened, and he smiled broadly. A martial artist at heart, Hong liked people who chose cultivation above career or politics. Yang Wu's refusal pleased him more than acceptance would have. Ha! You're even better than I imagined. He laughed easily. I understand. With your talent, getting entangled in worldly affairs would be a waste. As true martial artists, cultivation is our highest pursuit. He leaned forward. We walk the same path. I am not alone in this. Yang Wu's low profile had resonated. Hong's sincerity seemed genuine, not merely politeness. He nodded, relieved. Very well, let's drop the rest of it. Do you remember getting the Black God suit for free before? Yes, Yang Wu nodded. Now that you're a peak god of war, you can definitely handle entering the Ninth Ruins. With your talent, the danger is minimal. Cultivation shouldn't be delayed. I'll open the Ninth Ruins just for you once within a month. You pick the time. Make it the end of January, Yang Wu agreed. Done. We'll arrange it. You may go. Hong waved him off. Yes. Yang Wu stood and left. At the Limit Marshall Hall Global Headquarters base, Yang Wu walked out of the giant spaceship-like building accompanied by the red-robed man. Inside the reception room, Hong watched him go and smiled to himself. He believed Yang Wu's talent was at least equal to his own, and suspected his brain domain breadth wasn't weak. That judgment was a little off. Yang Wu's Black Iron 1 aptitude was solid, but his domain breadth wasn't exceptional. Yet what mattered most to Hong was the young man's enterprising, single-minded devotion to martial arts. I hope he receives a martial inheritance like I did, Hong thought. Then his future will be even greater. Martial arts required focus. Hong knew that better than most. Though he was only a planetary level 6, his own martial realm was very high, and he had been guided by the Ninth Ruins inheritance. Comprehending a domain was rare. Even many astral and universe-rank powerhouses hadn't achieved it. Hong's appreciation of Yang Wu came from both recognition of talent and sympathy for the life of a martial artist. Meanwhile, Yang Wu had no real desire to become an inspector. It would tie him up in endless administrative duties. He planned to finish his promotion and advancement missions within the month and push to become planetary level. That promotion would grant him far more freedom. Lord-level monsters were not hard to find. Where many lords gathered, there was a good chance a king-level monster would be present. Most land-based kings weren't especially strong. The powerful ones usually lurked in the deep sea. Given Yang Wu's current peak god of war physique and the 9 heavy Thunderblades' 7-fold power amplification, killing a king-level monster was within reach. He returned to the valley he'd left. In the Mang Ox herds nearby, there were 5 lord-level monsters, led by an advanced lord, and numerous other Mang Ox herds clustered around. It was the kind of place Yang Wu needed. Plenty of prey, and the potential to find the chance that would elevate him to the next level. Chapter 64. Challenge the Bull King, Mu. The Bull King looked as bewildered as a monarch who'd never been openly insulted. Other humans who dared to provoke them were cautious. Most teleported directly beside the beast and struck with lethal speed. Yang Wu, however, acted as if he were belittling the bulls. The 2 lord-level beasts roared in fury, and a mass of beast general-level Mang Ox and even more beast soldier-level Mang Ox swarmed around him. Get lost. Yang Wu's eyes flashed like lightning, his body a gust of wind. The blood shadow battle blade in his hand became a streak of lightning. Blade light sliced through air and flesh. Mang Ox bodies split. Blood spattered. Corpses flew. Killed a low-level beast general. Dropped 8 days of Black Iron level cultivation. Killed a high-level beast soldier. Dropped 4 days of Black Iron level cultivation. In the trial tower, Yang Wu had relied on explosive power, advanced movement, and blade techniques to survive swarms of monsters despite only average physical attributes. Now, against Beast General and Beast Soldier ranks, he cut through them like a scythe through dry grass. Still, he didn't push forward. He moved as if he were bait, deliberately staying in place. Monsters at the Soldier and Lord ranks had a degree of intelligence comparable to humans, but their sentience was newly developed. They had combat experience and could be cunning in a limited way, but their reasoning and adaptability were narrow. Knowledge gaps made them easy to mislead, like a genius with perfect memory who'd never learned mathematics. Without the concepts, he couldn't compute. That narrowness worked in Yang Wu's favor. Around him lay a pile of dead mang ox and streaks of blood on his black god suit. He leapt among the herd, moving so fast that usually only 2 or 3 large mang ox could get him at once. His perfect level movement made evasion trivial. Moo! On the central platform, the Bull King could only glare helplessly. Then, as if pushed to the limit, Yang Wu saw a green-scaled figure charge in, scattering nearby lower-ranked mang ox. Violent explosions of air, sounds of speed and pure force, announced its arrival. Intelligent and battle-hardened though they were, the attackers underestimated him. "I didn't come to kill you, but you invited this," Yang Wu said. The inky black god suit extended, reshaping into a battle blade several meters long and carrying the sheen of dead lightning. It moved with unimaginable speed. The Mangox couldn't discern the blade's angle, speed, or force, only the result. In an instant, the high-level Lord Mangox was decapitated. Its 10-meter-wide head flew skyward. For Yang Wu, who had reached the 9th stage of the 9-heavy Thunderblade, a high-level lord was a single, clean strike. Killed a high-level lord, dropped 256 days of black iron-level cultivation. Killed a mid-level lord, dropped 128 days of black iron-level cultivation. Yang Wu's massacre predictably triggered changes, and exactly as he expected. "So there really is a king-level monster here," he murmured, looking up at the bull hanging in the sky with neither joy nor fear. A bull that could fly was a clear sign of a king-level monster. A king level was a planetary-level powerhouse. If it were a peak planetary stage 1, it could overwhelm him in raw strength. Most planetary-level humans on Earth were stage 1, a few stage 2, and only a couple stage 3. Monsters generally trailed humans in intelligence, so most king-level monsters landed around planetary stage 1. A challenge mission popped into view, comparing their strengths. "You have triggered a challenge mission, Bull King. Mission objective, try to last longer against the Bull King. Strength comparison in progress. Comparison complete. You are not a match for the Bull King. Mission rewards generated." Reward. This mission reward is tiered. You will receive corresponding rewards upon meeting each requirement. Last 10 seconds. 10 days of black iron level cultivation. Last 30 seconds. 50 days of black iron level cultivation. Last 2 minutes. 300 days of black iron level cultivation. Last 3 minutes, 500 days of black iron level cultivation. Last 5 minutes, 1,000 days of black iron level cultivation. Last 10 minutes, 2,500 days of black iron level cultivation. Randomly generate one of the Bull King's talents. Yang Wu shook his head slightly. To be honest, this reward isn't as good as the Silver Moon demonic wolves back then. The strength gap between us be that big. If the strength comparison were identical, a Bull King should yield a higher reward than the Silver Moon demonic wolf. Its strength was greater, and flight was a huge tactical advantage. The modest rewards meant the Bull King was stronger than Yang Wu, but not overwhelmingly so. It wasn't a total steamroll. "I can definitely hold for 10 minutes, he decided. "I just don't know what talent I'll get." Since acquiring the Black God suit, Yang Wu seldom wore his SS-grade combat suit. This time, though, he donned it. After all, he was facing a king-level monster. The SS-grade suit wouldn't negate the full impact of a king-level blow, but it would dampen it significantly, improving his chances. Then the Black God suit coated him, leaving only tiny slits for his eyes and nostrils, far too small a target for a creature of the Bull King's size. In Yang Wu's pupils, a vast black shadow reflected. Far in the void, the enormous king-level monster strode through nothingness. Each step spanned over 100 meters. It walked with regal calm, not at top speed, but with the imperial air of one inspecting its domain. When it landed, the ground trembled. Its presence sent a killing intent like a heavenly torrent across the sky and through the air. Every lord-level Mangox, every beast soldier and beast general prostrated themselves, trembling and too afraid even to look up. Yang Wu's mouth twitched. The Bull King's aggro range was enormous. If it kept showing off for much longer, he might even complete the challenge mission without taking a single hit. Chapter 65. Battle Against King-Level Monsters. The Bull King soon loomed before Yang Wu, an immense creature easily over 100 meters long, the size of a mountain. Standing beneath it, Yang Wu felt the same smallness a person feels before a skyscraper. The ox-shaped monster's body was plated with scales the size of rooms. Under the scorching afternoon sun, those scales flashed a cold cyan light, each edged like a blade. Its horns rose proudly into the sky like iron, and its dark golden eyes gazed down with the impassive stare of a god. Cold, violent. If the iron-haired boar Yang Wu had faced in the martial artist combat assessment had been like a heavy Humvee, wild and brutal, this bull king felt like an entire mountain come to life. For an instant, Yang Wu's body trembled, his past life timidity surfaced. He forced a breath out. My past life's disposition still affects me, but devouring the heavens is a wondrous world, he muttered, forcing himself to steady his mind. The bull king advanced, each step a thunderous drumbeat that made the air itself vibrate. Yang Wu planted his feet, blade in hand, refusing to retreat. A low, godlike bellow, more a rumble than a roar, rolled across the valley. All the monsters throughout the mountain range bowed lower, overwhelmed by the pressure of a higher life level. Yang Wu couldn't afford to hesitate. If he delayed now, he feared he would never be able to strike. He calmed himself and focused. As soon as he steeled his resolve, the oppressive aura faded until it seemed only he and the king-level monster existed in the world. His battle intent flared, his primal energy surged. In a single bound, he covered several hundred meters, vaulting over bowed lesser beasts and closing on the Bull King. Clad in his SS-grade combat suit and black god suit, Yang Wu shot into the sky, blade crackling in his hands. A faint hum ran through the steel, a blade resonating with contained power. He pushed his body to the limit. 9 heavy thunderblade, 7-fold force, speed and strength escalated, the strike charged like thunder and lightning. Against such a foe, the difference in level mattered. Even a group of God of War peak warriors could be annihilated by a true king-level monster. Still, Yang Wu did not hesitate. The Bull King regarded his approach impassively, its cold eyes briefly flashing with a predatory light. For a breathless moment, the world fell silent. Every creature held its breath at the brink of an explosive clash. When the Bull King moved, the land itself trembled. Its enormous aura pressed down on the earth. Even thousands of meters away, the ground sank several meters. Yang Wu felt the world shake as the Bull King's namesake horn swept forward. A vast fluctuation of primal energy radiated from the monster, and Yang Wu answered with his own colossal force. The mountain range roared and quaked as if about to come apart. Kill! Yang Wu's killing intent detonated. A blade light tore through the air like a bolt, aimed at the Bull King. This was no reckless charge. Yang Wu believed his perfected technique and 7-fold force could amount to strength comparable to a planetary level. He intended to test that edge. The blade bit into the Bull King's horn, but the horn's protective primal energy was incredibly resilient. The strike cut less than a meter before stalling. The horn itself was massive, about 10 meters in diameter and stretching for tens of meters. Yang Wu hadn't tried to hit a vital point. He was probing the monster's defenses. The Bull King, seasoned and cunning, would not easily reveal any weakness. Then the Bull King countered. It lunged with astonishing speed, surprisingly quicker than Yang Wu. The collision reverberated through the mountain. Yang Wu tasted metal and dust as he was smashed by the force and hurled backward. He tumbled through the sky, dozens of meters, then hundreds. The wind from his flight ripped the mountainside, leaving a 100-meter fissure as he skidded away. Worse, the wound Yang Wu had carved into the Bull King's horn began to seal itself, closing rapidly, almost half a centimeter every second. Yang Wu's face grew grave. The creature's regenerative power marked it as a true king-level life form. From the Bull King's vantage, the whole encounter had been a tiny, almost amusing display. It had let Yang Wu strike, savoring the desperate expression on the ant's face. But the power that had passed through it, in that instant, had startled the monster. The Bull King's cold eyes narrowed as it reassessed this human before it. Not merely another insect to crush, perhaps, but a combatant with more than usual ferocity and strength. Chapter 66, Routine Bull King. The Bull King's power was overwhelming, and Yang Wu could only just hold his own by relying on brute strength. After all, he was only a god of war, and there were too many gaps between him and that monstrosity. Among the gods of war he could dominate, but against the Bull King there were still glaring differences. Fortunately, it wasn't a complete rout. It seems the Bull King doesn't have any power-amplifying technique. He's stronger than me, but only by a limited margin. Lucky I have the Black God suit. Without it, I'd be dead already. The suit's main advantage was toughness. Nothing sharp could pierce it. More than that, any impact transmitted through the Black God suit was weakened by 90%. In other words, even if the Bull King unleashed nearly 5 million kilograms of impact force, after passing through the SS-grade combat suit and the Black God suit's membrane, the force that reached Yang Wu's body was only around 300,000 kilograms. If that much force were focused on a single point, it would still maim a peak god of war, but dispersed across his whole body, it was survivable. Yang Wu's genetic quality as a peak god of war was excellent, and with herbal spirit boosting his recovery, estimated at more than 3 times that of an ordinary peak god of war, he would recover from the shock quickly. The damage from the last blow would be healed in moments. He scanned the void. The Bull King hovered 1,000 meters above in the starry sky, eyes ablaze with fighting fury. "Moo!" the beast roared. It had seen black-skinned humans before, and had killed a few, but each fight had been exceptionally hard. Yang Wu's lips curled. He hadn't gained nothing from that exchange. The last strike had confirmed important facts. The Bull King was essentially a brute, a high-attack, high-agility warrior without much subtlety. Even if he could generate huge impact, once that force was blunted by the suit, it lost its edge. The Bull King's peak impact could approach 5 million kilograms in a surge, though his typical original force attack was around 2.5 million kilograms. If he wanted to kill Yang Wu with sheer original force, it was a tall order. What the Bull King lacked was stamina and tactical depth. He could not sustain a long fight, nor pull off a quick knockout without exposing himself. "Take this blade," Yang Wu said coldly, stomping down. The ground split with a thunderous boom. Yang Wu launched forward, covering several hundred meters in a single stride. His footwork shifted in strange, unpredictable patterns as his arm rose and his original force fluctuated. He flashed to the Bull King and ignited a cold blade light. 9 heavy thunderblade, 9th level. Under the downward arc, the air tore. The pressure rippled like water. With original force surging around him, Yang Wu poured everything into the strike. The Bull King's dark golden pupils narrowed, not because the blow was terrifying, but because Yang Wu's movement and blade technique were startling even to him. He didn't dodge. Instead, his original force condensed and a hoof sliced through the air with lightning speed. There was a thunderous crack. Yang Wu flipped and flew backward. His arm went numb. Even the full power of the 9 heavy thunderblade could not pierce the Bull King's full-strength defense. The Bull King's speed outmatched him. His strength dwarfed him. That hoof strike would have crushed a tank. Yang Wu's face contorted. The skin over the Black God suit seemed to strain, veins on his forehead coiling like small snakes. The heavy blow drove him backward. His thighs gouged deep ruts in the stone, and rocks behind him erupted like cannonballs. He slammed into a cliff with a muffled, thunderous impact. Stone exploded into fragments that whistled away like bullets. The Bull King simply flipped back and took a few light steps as if the exchange had cost him nothing. "Again!" Yang Wu murmured. Why would he clash head-on when his strength was clearly inferior? Because humans and monsters fought differently. In truth, from their second encounter, Yang Wu had already set a trap. This head-on clash was a deliberate psychological gambit. By exposing an apparent weakness and meeting brute force with brute force, he lulled the Bull King into thinking he could win by overwhelming violence. The Bull King relaxed into that assumption. Why think when raw strength won battles? His low intelligence made him even more liable to that mistake. Yang Wu had deliberately let himself be the one to exchange blows. The Bull King preferred injury-for-injury contests, convinced Yang Wu intended to rely on the Black God suit to outlast him. That complacency was his fatal flaw. While the Bull King fixated on the obvious, he overlooked the subtler human advantages Yang Wu was about to exploit. There was also a practical reason. Yang Wu needed to survive long enough to secure the 10-minute reward before risking everything. Enjoy your smugness, Yang Wu thought, and pushed his recovery aside. He raised his blade and charged again, releasing stored impact force. A phantom blur streaked out, countless boulders shattered from the cliff and shot toward the Bull King. The shattered bluestones beneath his feet flew in a howling arc with every step. Yang Wu had probed the Bull King and learned his weaknesses. The beast's attacks were chaotic and blunt, a repertoire of wild, monotonous charges. He relied on diamond-hard skin and sheer momentum, using horns and hooves in straight-line advances. That predictable, brute pattern was exactly what Yang Wu, with perfect-level body movement, could exploit, even if he wasn't as fast. He couldn't just dodge now. He had to keep luring the Bull King into that false sense of security until an opening for a decisive strike presented itself. After all, if the Bull King were only severely injured, he might still fly away. Yang Wu, seasoned in combat, read the Bull King's lunge. He held his battle blade horizontally and, using the charging momentum, slashed fiercely along the Bull King's flank. A piercing screech rang out. Sparks flew off the creature's scales. Yang Wu's black god suit left only a shallow scratch on the armor-like hide. Still, he had scored a tiny, almost imperceptible cut on the Bull King's temple, the spot in front of the oracle on either side of the forehead. It was one of the dead zones in vital anatomy, the most vulnerable place Yang Wu could hope to hit. Other vital points were too well protected. The Bull King's strength dwarfed Yang Wu's. It wasn't an overwhelming crush so much as a destructive power far beyond what Yang Wu could normally match. Challenge mission completed. All mission criteria met. Settling reward. Settlement complete. Black iron level cultivation plus 4,360 days. Talent acquired. Abnormal excitement. Abnormal excitement. After activation, the effective strength of each attack will randomly fluctuate between 0% and 300%. While abnormal excitement is active, stamina, primal force, and related resources will suffer an additional 1,000% consumption. A black iron level reward of 4,360 days was better than nothing. Yang Wu's mouth twitched at the odd talent. In plain terms, it was wildly unpredictable. An all-out blow might deal nothing at the low end or become a 300% strike at the high end. If he could win without it, he wouldn't need such a gamble. If he couldn't, activating the talent would be a desperate, luck-based throw. In the current fight with the Bull King, he had no intention of engaging that capricious power. He was confident one fatal strike would finish it. Using abnormal excitement and getting zero output at the crucial moment would be humiliating. The blade in Yang Wu's hand was increasingly hard to steady. Every impact against the Bull King fed recoil back into him. The Bull King's attacks battered him as well. From the looks of it, Yang Wu couldn't compose himself. He met the Bull King head-on again and again, and that panic only made things worse. The Bull King had noticed and was delighted. If Yang Wu would simply stop colliding recklessly, he might have a better chance of victory. The Bull King halted a short distance away, turned and charged once more. Yang Wu had planned for this, but he was spent, panting, every limb feeling foreign to him, injuries oddly secondary. The Bull King's imminent victory made it surge with excitement. Yang Wu let out a roar. Beneath his pale, almost translucent skin, veins like tiny snakes flushed crimson. His whole body seemed to go blood red, as if about to bleed from every pore. My stamina and primal force are nearly gone. Everything from here on is fight to the death, he declared. Yang Wu's voice steadied into that cool, unshakable tone. The sound of blood roaring through him seemed to echo back like a river reversing its flow. His muscles tightened to the breaking point. Old fractures screamed as his remaining primal force surged, snapping him briefly back to his peak. His face flushed with health, even more vigorous than at the fight's start. Between his extraordinary genes and the refining of the millennial willow heart, his body's recovery was profound. Given time, all his wounds could heal. He was sure he could kill the Bull King. Killing it would complete the advancement mission. He even had enough cultivation to trigger the advancement. Reaching planetary level would take care of his injuries afterward. As the Bull King thundered toward him, Yang Wu's expression didn't change. To onlookers, his actions might seem suicidal. "Ha! Die for me!" he bellowed. The shout detonated like a cannon blast, a rolling thunder that struck the ground. The roar whipped up a gale far greater than any martial artist's famed lion's roar. Yang Wu planted his foot with a stomping force that detonated the earth. Boom! Bolts of energy seemed to explode from beneath him. Rocks erupted around his feet, launching into the air in a radius of hundreds of meters. The mountain trembled as if an earthquake had opened. Like a matador shifting aside at the last instant, Yang Wu moved a few steps, and the Bull King's forward inertia carried it headlong. Amid that cataclysmic shockwave, the visible primal force around Yang Wu condensed into a hidden torrent and shot skyward like a dragon, lifting him nearly 100 meters. In an instant, he was before the Bull King's vital spot. Clang! The blade sang. Where the edge cut, air compressed and detonated. A blinding blade light speared the sky. In swordcraft, there is nothing that cannot be cut, only speed to be attained. When the blade reaches the extreme, it becomes invincible. Yang Wu's battle blade screamed like a storm, a lightning bolt that left the surrounding wind unnaturally still, as if its speed had stilled the air itself. Tiny rifts opened in the air like space being torn. The Bull King's bristles rose. A raw, elemental terror flooded it. Yang Wu's strike, though not ostentatious, carried an inevitability, like a divine edict unleashed from the heavens, unavoidable and absolute. It felt as if its body and soul would be rent apart. Sensing its doom, the Bull King bellowed a howl that shook the ridge, pouring all its remaining strength into a desperate thrash. Rip! The temple was a soft, vulnerable point without protective bone. Yang Wu had already struck it several times. Without any resistance left, the Blood Shadow battle blade sliced clean through the scales, and the black god suit surged forward, extending into the Bull King's skull. Chapter 68, Bronze 5 and Planetary. The SS-grade Blood Shadow battle blade was enough to cut through the body of a king-level monster, let alone one with no bones. The Bull King's body stiffened where its vital point was struck. With a tearing sound, then a spray of blood, the Bull King bled profusely. Yang Wu dodged just in time, barely avoiding being drenched in ox blood. The Bull King tumbled helplessly from the heights, its eyes dimming as life drained away. In its final instant, it recalled its life. It had worked hard since youth, risen all the way to king level, and yet its proud strength had been shattered by a human far weaker than it. Killed a planetary-level second-tier monster, dropped bronze-level cultivation for 2 days. For Yang Wu, this was the first time bronze-level cultivation had fallen. When the bronze-level talent appeared, he understood something else at once. Black iron-level cultivation could be exchanged for bronze-level cultivation, but the rate was an outrageous 10,000 to 1. The reason was simple. The gaps between bronze stages were enormous. Every tier of talent imposed limits. Some foundations simply could not be raised, no matter how long you practiced. No matter how much time was poured into a black iron foundation, it could never comprehend a true domain. The best it could reach was the soul-level understanding that capped at the planetary threshold. That was the bottleneck. The Bull King's massive carcass smashed to the ground, sending tremors through the mountains. Yang Wu fell to his knees, utterly spent. Even so, the Mangox beasts around him didn't dare come near. He coughed and tried to steady himself. The fight had been brutal, but the result was perfect. Excitement and elation rushed through him. So this is what it feels like to defeat a powerful enemy. This is what a god of war is. You have successfully completed the advancement mission. Talent is transforming. Talent transformation complete, reached Bronze 5. The complete version of the 9 Heavy Thunderblade carried an art conception movement technique that Yang Wu had never properly comprehended. Now he sensed a change. He closed his eyes, calm as still water, feeling the shift in that art conception. Previously it had been vague, like layers of mist. Now it was clearer. Comprehension had improved across the board. It's like a soul-level transcendence. My comprehension has more than doubled, a true talent transformation. If realm breakthroughs were physical overhauls, this talent change felt like a soul uplift. It might not immediately boost raw gene power cultivation dramatically, but his understanding had leapt forward. No hesitation then, begin. Yang Wu inhaled until his breath grew steady and shallow. With the advancement mission complete, he accepted the next step without wavering. You have met the requirements for the optional advancement mission. The planetary-level advancement mission has been completed. Suddenly, Yang Wu's skin flushed crimson. He sat cross-legged. Primal energy streamed into him from the void, and his eyes shut tight. Inside every cell, ethereal galaxies spiraled, and primordial force churned, forming vortex after vortex. The gene power, once a calm river of starlight, surged up. The surging gene power spun and accelerated. The vortices widened, and the flowing strands thinned like a transparent curtain of water. Then, with a contraction, that curtain tightened into a gigantic rotating water sphere. Expand, contract, the flow pulsed like a beating heart. Dark golden fragments dissolved into the current, making the stream even fiercer. Water droplets merged into rivulets, then streams, then rivers of energy. Heat and power gathered from every inch of his body and funneled toward his dantian in the abdomen. There was a fundamental difference between a Psyker Master and a god of war. A Psyker Master's origin was the sea of consciousness in the head, while a god of war's origin lay in the dantian. Boom. As if the heavens were cleaved, the dantian sprang into existence. Gene power inside it spun faster and faster, expanding and contracting with every cycle, each contraction leaving the volume a fraction smaller. At the critical moment, Yangwu felt a shock in his consciousness and a tremor through his body. Success. In the dantian, a miniature planet had formed. It was purple, made entirely of aggregated hexagonal purple crystals, and it rotated on its axis, emanating peculiar fluctuations. A strand of gene power burst from the dantian and flowed through Yangwu's body. In an instant, every part of him, bones, marrow, skin, meridians, organs, experienced rapid remaking. It felt like his bones were shattered and reassembled, condensed and reborn. The transformation was far beyond what he had felt when he once absorbed dragon blood. Finally, I've stepped into the planetary level. Yangwu clenched his fists as power flooded him. On Earth, a war god level was little more than an apprentice tier by cosmic standards. It wasn't even enough to truly call oneself a god of war. Only at planetary did one truly qualify. The change was exquisite. When the transformed genes remade his body, the shock was overwhelming. Improvements within apprentice ranks had been incremental. Crossing into advanced tiers was where limits were broken, and once broken, life leapt to a higher plane. It was as if a body that had reached its peak and could grow no more had been reborn as an infant with infinite potential. Yangwu felt himself lift. Rising was an innate ability of the planetary level. Gene power had formed that miniature planet in his dantian. The planet generated a magnetic field, and by manipulating that field, he could levitate and fly. Chapter 69. Transformation of Life at the Genetic Level. At present, Yangwu's dantian held only a single gray miniature planet. He had reached planetary level 1. That didn't mean he was stuck. He could steadily grow from planetary 1 all the way to planetary 9. Once he possessed 9 miniature planets, he could attempt the breakthrough to astral rank. Planetary-level martial artists could project their gene power, and that gene power would carry a special attribute, an ability awakened at the moment of breakthrough. Different people awakened different attributes. Some found flame, some light. In the original records, only a few were named. For example, Luo Feng's Vajra body was a powerful metal-type ability. The attribute depended on a person's physique, soul, comprehension, and how the absorbed cosmic energy aligned with the laws of the devouring world. If someone was naturally suited to an attribute, they comprehended those laws more easily. These special attributes fall into 8 broad categories: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, and light, Yangwu thought. He had once cultivated the 9-heavy thunderblade. His ability was almost certainly tied to thunder. He concentrated, and his gene power flowed through him, merging with the surface of his skin. He watched as his skin faintly sparked with electricity, looking like a war god made of lightning. Dark golden veins of lightning danced along him, and even at a glance, they radiated terrifying power. The brief mentions of planetary special abilities in the original aside, there was no inherent rank between the 8 types. Any category could produce formidable abilities, or utterly useless ones. Yangwu didn't yet know the exact nature of his special ability, only that it was related to the laws of thunder. A strong wind rose around him. In the endless void, 10,081 threads of energy formed, connecting to the miniature planet within his dantian. The planet seemed to sprout new meridians, drawing gene power into an unprecedentedly close union with his body. Those 10,081 threads ran through him like the workings of a small universe, transmitting the cosmic cycle into every part of Yangwu. The evolution of his life genes was comprehensive. Mysterious cosmic energy flowed along each thread, penetrating cells and driving genetic metamorphosis. Cracks and snaps sounded from within his muscles and bones as cells restructured and meridians rearranged. Yang Wu closed his eyes, exhilarated. He wasn't merely moved by the genetic refinement itself, but by the perfection of the cycle that had formed: gene power, miniature planet, soul, body, and internal cosmos in miniature. It intoxicated him as if he'd seen the most beautiful thing in existence. Time passed while he lay immersed. The gene evolution proceeded automatically, pushed forward by the continuous cosmic cycle. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It took 3 full days for the metamorphosis to complete. When it was done, his life gene level had tripled. His overall strength had increased 3-fold. Although he still had only 1 miniature planet and was technically planetary level 1, his true power far exceeded the baseline for that level. Most planetary level 1 martial artists boasted base strength between 2 and 4 million kilograms. Yang Wu's base striking power now ranged from 6 to 12 million kilograms. Every unit of his strength effectively multiplied by 3 thanks to his boosted life gene level. With the 9 heavy Thunderblade factored in, his full burst output could reach at least 42 million kilograms. On Earth, most human planetary martial artists lingered at Planetary 1. A few reached Planetary 2. There were 2 exceptions, Hong and Thunder God, but apart from them, Yang Wu feared no one. His gene power had also purified, and his compatibility with origin laws had improved. He could vaguely sense fluctuations in the most fundamental laws of the infinite universe: metal, wood, fire, earth, wind, light, thunder, even space and time. For someone with bronze level 5 talent, this breadth of perception was surprising. His elevated life gene level had boosted his affinity for the origins. 1 time, he estimated inwardly, my clarity of comprehension has increased by roughly 1-fold. The potency with which I can manifest laws has increased correspondingly. He wasn't yet at the level of conception, domain, or actual law mastery, but increased comprehension meant he would learn laws faster in the future. No wonder the Blood Warrior and Black Warrior ranks were so revered. Those selected by the Virtual Universe Corporation were already top geniuses. If their comprehension and law potency each improved even a single fold or 10-fold, the result would be devastating. When Luo Feng passed Tongqian Mountain, the primordial Chaos City Lord had offered little praise at first. But upon learning Luo Feng had become a Black Warrior, the City Lord praised him 3 times over, proof of how life gene improvements outstripped ordinary genius. Even though the upgrade had cost 3 million cultivation points, it was worth it, a massive gain. Yang Wu let his thoughts stray to the next advancement mission. If it required another 3 million bronze-level cultivation points, where would he farm that many king-level monsters? Converting black iron points into bronze-level points by slaughtering ordinary monsters helped, but the exchange ratios were troublesome. He rose into the air and hovered 300 meters above the ground, his black war suit billowing as he floated without touching anything. There's talk that Hong and Thunder God once infiltrated the deep sea and made a pact with the 2 beast emperors, he mused. The content is unclear, but one clause is extremely unfavorable to me. Once a person reaches planetary level, they can't act freely. It was an annoyance, but manageable. As long as he killed any monsters that witnessed him at planetary level, he could avoid complications. In practice, there were only so many monsters in any given place. Whether at God of War Peak or anywhere else, Yang Wu could annihilate them in a single strike. From the standpoint of farming efficiency, breaking through or staying back didn't change things much. He relaxed, confident in the new power inside him and the path ahead. Chapter 70, Shocked Hong. After the monsters saw Yang Wu flying, they were no match for him and were easily wiped out. Since breaking through to the planetary level, Yang Wu had no immediate goals, so he stayed in Australia to grind. Cultivation never went out of style. On January 8, 2057, while he was deep in his routine, an email arrived. Yang Wu, please report to the Limit Marshal Hall Global Headquarters in Hongning Base City before 6 p.m. on January 10th. Various gods of war will gather there to depart together for Ancient Civilization Ruins No. 9. Please note the following. 1. Ancient Civilization Ruins Number 9 is one of the less dangerous ruins, and it is the only place where a black god suit can be obtained. The death and injury rate for war god level entrants is approximately 72%, with a success rate of 28%. Consider carefully before entering. Once inside, there is no turning back. 2. Each person is allowed only one entry into Ancient Civilization Ruins Number 9. 3. Warriors entering Ancient Civilization Ruins Number 9 are forbidden from using special protective gear such as black god suits. Protective gear may only be Earth-manufactured combat suits. Weapons from the ruins may be used. Dojo of Limits, January 8, 2057. Hong found a group to go with me, Yang Wu murmured, shaking his head. Maybe it's for cover. It shouldn't be a problem. He had expected this. He hadn't yet explored the Ninth Ruins or some of the other ancient sites, places like the Three Great Forbidden Lands, and among them the Ninth was relatively safer. More importantly, he was now planetary level, and not in an ordinary way. He wondered about his brain domain width, if it had reached 18. A width of 18 was the standard for opening the special passage in Ruins Number 9. In his previous life, ordinary people had an estimated width around 5. Someone like Einstein might have reached 13. A single point of difference in brain domain width could represent a huge gap. With the boost of a threefold life genetic level, Yang Wu's comprehension had skyrocketed, over 100-fold compared to his original self. Exactly how wide his brain domain was, he didn't know for sure. If I go in on a normal assessment, I can be confident, he thought, frowning. But what if I trigger a different, elite assessment, like what happened to Luo Feng? He had a foundation of 2 million black iron level cultivation, so even if he encountered an elite passage, he wasn't entirely without hope. The upside was that elite passages differed from the common A or B type routes and might bring unexpected gains. The downside was that prior experience might not apply. And since he was a warrior, the trials Luo Feng endured after entering the Psyker Master Elite Passage weren't a useful reference. This elite passage hasn't been opened for 5,000 years. No one knows what will happen. Only by knowing himself and his enemy could he stand a chance. Blindly rushing into the ruins could cost him his life. Still, the Ninth Ruins was one of the few opportunities left before he entered the wider universe, and his mindset had shifted since entering the Devouring the Heavens world. Yang Wu arrived at the Limit Marshall Hall Global Headquarters, a colossal spaceship-like building, and was led into a lounge. It was spacious, with dozens of seats. 6 people were already there. From their appearances, he judged none were from China. If he kept his strength hidden, ordinary people wouldn't realize he'd reached the Beyond War God tier of planetary level. Soon the last 8th member arrived, and those chosen to go to Ruins Number 9 were all present. Because the 9th Ruins forbade ancient civilization protective gear like the Black God suit, only Earth-made combat suits could be used, but weapons from the ruins were permitted. Yang Wu unbound his recognized Black God suit. The unbinding was crude, forcing out the blood used during recognition, but he had SS-grade weapons and combat suits, so it wasn't especially risky. Everyone, follow me. A man in a loose red robe led them to a quiet chamber made of a strange purple wood. The wood gave off a peculiar fragrance and induced an unusual calm and mental focus. A black-clad man stood inside with his back to them. When the group entered, he turned and scanned them. Hong's eyes narrowed when he saw Yang Wu. Surprise and something deeper flashed across his face. So talented, Hong thought, genuinely impressed. He had believed Yang Wu could reach planetary level, but not so quickly. Hong had helped Yang Wu a bit before, and the results exceeded his expectations. Yang Wu's breakthrough was a major event and good publicity. After success in the 9th Ruins, Yang Wu might become the Dojo of Limit's 6th patrol envoy. At least that was the expectation. Although Ancient Civilization Ruins Number 9 is among the less dangerous ruins, the casualty rate is still high, the black-clad man said. If any of you regret this and wish to withdraw, you may do so now. Once you enter, there will be no turning back. Silence followed. The man continued. Very well, Yao Rao, come in. A shadowy figure materialized outside the door. A mysterious woman in a black robe and a golden mask, long black hair spilling down her back. You 8 will depart for Ancient Civilization Ruins Number 9 under Yao Rao's command. the black-clad man announced. Yes, the group answered in unison. Yang Wu, stay. The others may leave. Soon only Yang Wu and the black-clad man Hong remained in the purple wood quiet room. Yang Wu, Hong said, studying him, your talent and comprehension are excellent, on par with mine. I didn't expect you to have already reached the planetary level. Only months earlier, Hong had seen Yang Wu as an ordinary god of war in basic physical condition. Now, in such a short time, Yang Wu had broken through to planetary level. Hong's expression softened with a mix of surprise and admiration. Oh, you might not know, Hong added, what Earthlings commonly call Beyond War God is the title for planetary level powerhouses. Chapter 71, Relic Number 9. It had taken Yang Wu only half a year to go from an ordinary martial artist to a newly advanced planetary level, the fastest in history to reach that tier. Hong knew Yang Wu's past well enough to understand how remarkably straightforward his rise had been. Besides, given the typical age of planetary-level practitioners, Yang Wu was shockingly young. Even so, Hong couldn't fathom how Yang Wu had defied logic and condensed decades of progress into 6 months. You never stop surprising me, Hong said, shaking his head. As for how you broke through to planetary level, I won't pry. If anyone claimed Yang Wu had risen to planetary level with no hidden secrets, Hong would never have believed it. Still, he knew everyone carried secrets, and some things could not be forced out. Experts were lonely by nature. When you become invincible, there are no peers left to match you. He disliked that loneliness, and as a fellow hero, he didn't need to press the issue. Becoming planetary level is a huge step, he went on. Our dojo of limits should pick an auspicious day and make a global announcement. I'll personally confer the title of inspector on you. Our dojo will officially appoint a 6th inspector and announce it worldwide, Hong continued. We'll choose an important day. Our speakers will confer member status on you within the God of War's space. Before you come out of the 9th ruins, I'll have my subordinates arrange everything. But even reaching planetary level is only the beginning. You must keep training, Hong warned. Breaking through to War God level or Lord level doesn't stop your strength from growing. Among human planetary level members, there are strong and weak. Even Thunder God and I surpass many others. Monsters are the same. Among king-level monsters, there are disparities, usually not massive, only a few times difference. But the sea regions, vastly larger than the land, harbor countless monsters, and the number of king-level beasts is huge. Naturally, terrifying creatures arise there. 2 of those monsters are what we call monster emperors. Their strength is staggering. Apart from me and Thunder God, anyone on Earth who meets one will die, Hong said flatly. He spoke this to spur Yang Wu on. With Yang Wu's talent, Hong believed he could one day rival him and Thunder God. Planetary level is a starting point, not an end. Don't slack off. Understood, Yang Wu nodded. I didn't expect you to talk so straight, so I won't keep you. Let's get down to business. With your talent, based on past cases, the trials inside the 9th ruins will be extraordinary, Hong said. The risks and the final rewards are incomparable to ordinary trials. I'll ask you one last time. Do you want to withdraw? He looked at Yang Wu with intensity. Nothing is 100% safe. Yang Wu smiled faintly. On the path of pursuing the limits of life, I can only go against the current. He had chosen the way of the martial artist and had to have the courage to fight. Danger stoked his blood and filled him with purpose. Other practitioners advanced step by step. He could make a dramatic leap forward thanks to his golden finger. Hong watched him and nodded inwardly. Talent and comprehension were important, but to reach greatness, one needed indomitable will. The Yang Wu before him now had that iron resolve, a fighting spirit nothing could bend or wash away. To truly surpass the limits of life, one needed to feel that only they could succeed and that no one could stop them. Whoosh! The universe-level intelligent fighter jet sliced through the air at breathtaking speed. Inside the cabin were Yao Rao, one of Hong's personal guards, and 8 gods of war. You can just call me Member Yao Rao, she said, her voice pleasant and clear. Everyone, listen carefully. I'll only say this once. The ancient civilization ruins number 9 is an ancient ruin used for selection and elimination trials. When you enter, martial artists will generally go in via the Type A passage. Psyker masters will be directed by the ruins into the Type B passage. When Yao Rao finished, she shot a long look at Yang Wu. Hong had already told her Yang Wu was now planetary level and might be assigned a special passage. She was visibly shocked. Even Thunder God hadn't seemed able to get into any special route. They began installing translation software. Not understanding the ruins' language or texts would waste time and could cause serious trouble. Yao Rao had always been at Hong's side, one of his 3 personal guards and one of the strongest female figures in the early stages of this world. Yang Wu looked her over for the first time. Even with a mask covering most of her face, the visible features were unmistakably beautiful. Her eyes, above all, were captivating. They even unsettled Yang Wu's planetary-level consciousness for a moment. He dismissed the distraction and focused on a more relevant thought. She must be skilled in illusion techniques, a prominent school in the Devouring the Heavens world. Illusion cultivation required a powerful, all-encompassing state of mind, the sort Hong exemplified, something Yang Wu knew he couldn't easily attain. Yao Rao smiled at Yang Wu and the others. "All right, get ready and enter the ancient civilization ruins. Each of you will face different situations. I hope you all come out alive." The fighter jet shot away. "Everyone, prepare quickly. The 9th ruins opens in 2 hours," the red-robed elder reminded the gathered group. "8 of you, are you ready?" They said nothing and just stared at him. "Very well. Open the entrance," the elder ordered. Click, click, click. The curved alloy wall in front of the hall split apart, revealing a circular passage. Chapter 72. Elite Channel. "What? Oh my God!" The remaining 7 gods of war, who had been silent until now, stared at the circular passage in stunned horror. Even Yang Wu, a transmigrator, couldn't hide his shock. The passage began with 2 or 3 meters of alloy, but farther in it turned into a strange dark brown, as if a network of tree roots had woven together to form the corridor. Walk straight through the passage and enter that glowing mirror. It isn't really a mirror, it's the entrance to ancient civilization ruins number 9, the red-robed elder announced. Once you go in, there's no turning back. 8 gods of war, I wish you come out alive. The elder's words fell heavy in the vast hall. Dozens of people watched in silence. The journey ahead might be life or death. "Everyone," Yang Wu said, and walked straight toward the passage. "I'll go in first." "Go," someone called. Yang Wu stepped into the passage, followed by the others. The alloy walls behind them slid shut with a metallic clang, sealing the way back. A circular surface ahead shimmered with light. Yang Wu laughed and stepped into it without hesitation. The surface swallowed him like rippling water. He emerged into a black hall with a hemispherical ceiling, several hundred square meters in area. Colorful, mesmerizing beams of light poured down from above, bathing the room in a dreamlike glow. "This is ancient civilization ruins number 9? Yang Wu muttered, looking around. Each entrant from the group found themselves appearing alone in a similar hall. They hadn't been placed together. Martial artists and psyker masters were routed into different testing passages. Externally, the ruins were categorized into Type A and Type B passages, but their true secrets remained hidden. The vivid light enveloped Yang Wu for over a minute. Suddenly, a sharp, rhythmic sound echoed through the hall. "Translation software," Yang Wu said under his breath, lowering his head to his comm watch. The translation program had activated, and a voice came through the watch. "Alert, alert, alert." "Alert?" He smiled slightly. "Looks like my brain domain breadth meets the requirement." He wasn't thrilled to trigger the elite passage, but he wasn't afraid. He had more than 2 million days' worth of black iron cultivation as a foundation. Although black iron's effects weren't as potent as bronze level, 2 million days was still massive. On top of that, his life gene level was 3 times that of an ordinary person. Put together, he might be equivalent to a first-stage planetary level with an effective force multiplier of 21, 7 times 3. He felt confident he could handle the trials. The colorful lights vanished. From the ceiling, finger-thick crystal cords shot down like lightning. Yang Wu's eyes sharpened. He didn't try to resist. This ruin complex was known as a training and selection ground, preferring psyker masters and designed to test and screen elites. Psyker masters who entered the elite routes rarely died. They were sometimes hurt, but survival was usual. Yang Wu had reached planetary level and had evidently triggered the elite track, so even as a martial artist, he expected to be safe. The crystal cords moved at astonishing speed, more rapid than the Willow Tree King of Mist Island. They wrapped around him instantly, entangling him, bundling him up like a zongzi. Streams of light ran along each transparent cord, rushing upward into the ceiling as if the cords were transmitting data to a central processor. The process lasted about 30 seconds. Then abruptly, all the crystal cords retracted back into the ceiling with a whooshing sound. X. A long message resonated in the hall. Yang Wu checked his comm watch. Complex symbols appeared on the screen, and the watch spoke, translating into clear Chinese. Congratulations. Your brain domain breadth is 18, qualifying you to enter the elite passage of this trial base. Yang Wu compared it in his head. Luo Feng's brain domain breadth had been 21 at apprentice level and jumped to 22 after he reached planetary level. Yang Wu's talent had recently evolved into Bronze 5, and his life gene level had tripled, but his brain domain breadth still lagged behind Luo Feng's. Luo Feng must have had higher Bronze stage talent in the earthly period. Because this is the first time the elite passage has opened in 5,000 years, please wait 15 minutes. The watch announced. 15 minutes passed slowly. Yang Wu waited in silence. When the time finally ended, a new voice echoed and the hall's walls began to tremble. Please enter the elite passage, the watch translated. A yawning, bottomless black channel opened in the wall, flanked by intricate, unfamiliar characters, almost identical to those that had scrolled across his watch. Yang Wu nodded and stepped inside. A moment later, 9 branching paths fanned out before him. He picked one at random and walked, but at the end of that branch he found another set of 9 forks. He kept moving forward, the pattern repeated. Ahead, 9 branching paths. Behind him, 9 branching paths. From each branch, a black-robed figure wearing a silver mask emerged, green pupils fixed and cold. 18 black-robed figures closed in, 9 ahead and 9 behind. People? Yang Wu muttered as he noticed one step out from a distant branch. The masked figure's gaze held unmistakable killing intent. More followed, 2, 3, 4, 9. They stood at the entrances of the branches, staring at Yang Wu like predators. A growl came from behind him as the other 9 advanced. Yang Wu turned. The figures behind him walked forward slowly, emitting low, threatening growls. They were clearly constructs or guardians created by the ruins to test intruders, but their presence felt off, more disciplined than ordinary monsters. He sized them up. Ordinary first-stage planetary level? Without warning, all 18 moved. Their bodies blurred and became streaks of light. In an instant, they burst forward at speeds several times the speed of sound, bursting speed that would challenge even a typical first-stage planetary-level martial artist. Yang Wu's expression hardened as the 18 figures closed in from both directions. Chapter 73. That's it? Boom. Yang Wu charged forward like a blood-red phantom, a hexagonal shield in one hand and the blood shadow battle blade in the other. The sharp, metallic ring of a blade drawn cut through the air and drowned out everything else. A flash of steel swept by with a chill that pierced the heart, striking like lightning at the black-robed man. 9 heavy thunderblade, 7 times force amplification. With his life gene level providing a 3 times multiplier, it amounted to a 21 times force burst. Puff! The strike was launched and withdrawn in an instant, as if the sun had passed by, simple, quiet, utterly invisible in its speed. With a horrifying crunch, Yang Wu cleaved the black-robed man's head in a single stroke. He kicked the corpse. The man flew backward like a cannonball, crashing out of the corridor and taking another black-robed figure in front with him. At the entrance, 7 more black-robed men blocked the way instead of charging. Behind Yang Wu, 9 more in black robes surged forward, but none of them matched his speed. It seemed some of those black-robed figures had a higher force amplification level than his, but Yang Wu's life gene level was high enough that a single move could instantly kill another planetary level 1 foe. Still, these figures weren't true living people. They didn't fear death. Knowing they were no match, they still rushed furiously at him. The 7 at the front roared and struck at once with their right fists clad in silver-gray gauntlets, attacking from both front and rear. Blocked on both sides, Yang Wu had nowhere to go. A sharp whistling cut through the air, like ghosts wailing and wolves howling, and blade light swept across the corridor like a thunderstorm. Weak, pathetic, Yang Wu snarled. Pale purple blade light exploded as he launched 8 strikes, turning the front into a seething sea of cutting light heavy with killing intent. The icy slashes were launched and retracted in an instant, almost invisible, each passing sound a razor in the air. The blade light tore through the ranks of black-robed men like thunder. Clang! Without pausing to inspect the ones before him, Yang Wu twisted and charged the enemies behind, cleaving them down. The bodies of the fallen were mutilated and scattered across the corridor floor. Then, unnaturally, they seemed to melt, slowly merging into the ground until nothing remained. Though it sounded like a drawn-out scene, the entire clash, from encounter to finish, had lasted only a flicker of time. Puff! The last black-robed man split under Yang Wu's blade. His chest was torn open, revealing no organs, only some unknown black substance. A dazzling flare of blade light, all lightning and fire, struck and severed his head. All 18 black-robed men were dead. Yang Wu watched their bodies dissolve into the floor and exhaled softly. As he finished, deep within the core of ancient civilization ruins number 9, thousands of translucent crystal strands extended in one direction. Streams of flowing light ran through them, converging on the core. In the maze, Yang Wu reappeared at a fork formed by dark brown intertwined tree roots. Ahead of him, the path split into 9 branches. Before he could step forward, a familiar voice echoed through the maze. Yang Wu glanced down at his comm-watch. The Chinese translation scrolled across the screen. Congratulations, you have successfully passed the assessment. Whoosh! Mist at both ends of the elite passage dispersed. The surrounding space changed. Transparent streams of light formed a crystalline chamber 5 meters high and 8 meters across, enclosing Yang Wu. There was food inside, not high grade, but enough. Yang Wu ate and drank, letting his strength slowly recover. I thought it would be like Luo Feng's trial, where I'd have to wander the passages for a long time, he muttered. I didn't expect killing those black-robed men would let me pass this stage outright. He wasn't in a hurry. The black-robed man test was over. Whatever came next, he would face when it arrived. After he finished eating, a voice from the ruins spoke again inside the crystal room. Yang Wu listened eagerly. After all, the ancient ruins had finally spoken. He watched the comm-watch as its translation software rendered the long announcement. Elite Planetary Level 1 Martial Artist Yang Wu, your assessment death mission has officially begun. During this period, you will receive food and water supplies. Engraved on the walls of the assessment chamber are the martial artist's secret method, basic 312 forms. By learning these 312 forms, you will have the opportunity to break through this assessment chamber. Yang Wu's gaze moved over the crystal chamber walls. Hundreds of complex engravings covered them, well over 300 human figure diagrams, each accompanied by ancient text. Just looking felt overwhelming, even with his current comprehension. Martial artist, secret method, basic. What does basic even mean? He said to himself. The voice continued. Assessment requirement. Break through the chamber within 3 years. Failure to break through within 3 years will be considered failure. Failure equals death. In the translucent crystal room at the heart of the ruins, Yang Wu's eyes flicked over the diagrams and texts like blades. Swish. He tapped a button on his comm-watch. Like snapping photos and recording, he captured a vast number of images and text from the crystal wall. The translation software converted them into legible images and Chinese characters. More than 20 minutes later, the manual for the Yunmo planet's secret method, basic 312 forms, was stored on his watch. The bald crystal man in this place seems to think I'm just planetary level 1, Yang Wu muttered. But I'm not ordinary. My force amplification reads as 7 times, but with my life gene level, it's effectively 21 techs. In the original story, Luo Feng's psychic amplitude reached 16, and that was enough to pass the assessment. Why not try it now? He decided. He fixed his gaze on a blank circular spot, 3 centimeters across, on the crystal wall, and struck it with everything he had. 9 heavy thunderblade, 7 times force amplification, multiplied by his 3 times life gene level, 21 times in total. Boom! A streak of original force blade light tore through the crystal wall. The chamber blew open, and Yang Wu walked through, blinking with surprise. I was planning to spend massive time practicing the basic 312 forms, he said, half amused. But this? Chapter 74, Relic Rewards. The crystal chamber, where a jagged hole had suddenly opened in the wall, began to hiss. The sound swelled until the cracked surface dissolved into brilliant streams of light that flowed and merged with the dark brown, tangled roots on the floor. A familiar voice echoed through the labyrinth. Yang Wu glanced at the communication watch on his wrist. The device translated the message at once. Congratulations, your death assessment mission has been successful. Please follow the passage ahead and proceed straight to meet me and claim your reward for completing the assessment. No sooner had the voice finished than the tough wall of dark roots in front of him writhed and slid aside, forming a corridor 3 or 4 meters wide. The passage was deep and secluded. At its end glowed the same entrancing light that had made the crystal walls. Is it really that simple? Yang Wu muttered, still a little stunned, and slung on his backpack. Claiming a reward, let's go. The Yunmo star lineage valued Psyker Masters highly. Yang Wu didn't know what a martial artist would be given, but whatever the lineage handed out to geniuses would hardly be paltry. He pushed through the passage and soon stepped into a hall suffused with dazzling, dreamlike colors. The swirling lights coalesced into the vague outline of a tall figure that resolved into a bald, crystalline man. "Hello, Yang Wu," the crystal man said. The translation flickered across the watch. The crystal being glanced at the device, and a beam of light shot into it. The watch's screen filled with scrolling data as the crystal man removed a large amount of translated information stored in the device. "Don't be nervous," the man added in a voice with a faint metallic echo. He spoke perfect Chinese. Yang Wu raised an eyebrow but wasn't surprised. These ancient civilization ruins and the undying there had existed long enough to be familiar with Earth's developments. The crystal man continued with an almost amused patience. "I monitor the development of life on this planet, your scripts, your cultural changes, your history. Of course, I can read your language. I take a human form to make communication easier. For an elite candidate's death assessment, if you fail, the protocol is to prevent any leakage of information. You will be executed," he said calmly. "If you succeed, you will qualify to enter the Yunmo planet, become a member of the Yunmo star lineage, and learn that I watch over this world." Yunmo planet? Yang Wu's mouth twitched. He hadn't officially joined the Yunmo star lineage through Babata back then, but somehow he was being offered entry here at the 9th ruins. "You knowing it changes nothing," the crystal man said with a small shake of his head. "Now, I will give you the reward for passing the assessment." 5 items floated up between them: a black vest, a pair of silver arm guards, a curved blade similar to the Blood Shadow battle blade, a book scattering pinpricks of starlight, and a hexagonal metal plate. "This first item, the black suit you call the Black God suit," the crystal man said, pointing at the vest. "The second, this silver arm guard-shaped object, is an intelligent optical computer. The third item is a unique gene power weapon of the Yunmo star lineage, the Azure Dragon Blade. The fourth is a unique martial arts offensive secret method of the Yunmo star lineage, the Azure Dragon Blade secret method. Only by combining the secret method with the Azure Dragon Blade can its true power be unleashed. I will not detail the technique here. The fifth item is the token for entering the Yunmo planet. All rewards are granted according to the program recorded in this base." The crystal man's gaze lingered on the hexagonal plate, which bore 2 complex characters. He sighed. "Unfortunately, even if you obtain the Yunmo planet token, the people of the Yunmo planet cannot be contacted to come pick you up. I can no longer communicate with the Yunmo planet, and this token is useless for contacting them. Program constraints require me to bestow the token, but it will not gain you entry. You already know what the Black God suit does. The intelligent optical computer will be prized by every gene power martial artist and psyker master. It will be very useful to you. It provides all the functions of your communication watch and many more. Most importantly, it can gauge a target's combat strength." "Can it really measure strength?" Yang Wu asked. He removed the original arm guard from his left arm and slid on the silver one. As a faint trace of gene power flowed into it, the arm guard conformed to his skin, and a cascade of pictorial characters appeared across its surface. The intelligent optical computer was an advanced device with translation built in, so the symbols were immediately readable. You had translation software on your previous communication watch that leaked details about this place, the Crystal Man said. To avoid unnecessary trouble, I have deleted all messages from your communication device related to these ruins. Of course, the basic 312 forms remain. You may continue to study them. Yang Wu noticed a textured cluster on the lower left edge of the arm guard and pressed lightly. He pointed the device at himself. Text blossomed across the surface. Combat power, gene power, planetary level 1. The reading was simple, far less precise than the tests Babata ran. Yang Wu wasn't surprised. Countless life forms had emerged across the vast universe, and most were at the apprentice level. Earth's warriors, warlords, and even its gods of war were essentially unranked by galactic standards. Above the apprentice level was the planetary level. Only those who reached planetary status could be called gene power martial artists. Those below it were merely apprentices. On Earth, most of the Beyond War God existences were planetary level 1, a few reached planetary level 2, and only 2 were at planetary level 3. The strongest Hong had achieved planetary level 6, and Thunder God was planetary level 7. They were far beyond the rest. Your talent is puzzling, the Crystal Man said, studying Yang Wu. Your brain domain width is unusually broad. You should go back and carefully study those secret methods. Planetary level martial artists covet exclusive gene power weapons. Now you have one, he continued. Combined with the Azure Dragon Blade secret method, you can truly unleash the blade's potential. Chapter 75, Hong's Arrival. Having them is like giving a tiger wings. Your power increases dramatically, the bald crystalline figure said. How much you can use them depends on how well you can wield the Azure Dragon Blade. You are the first Yunmo planet member to appear on Earth in 5,000 years. Don't be arrogant. The figure's voice carried a calm, measured authority. In terms of raw combat capability, your force projection is extremely high, but Hong is far stronger than you. He has already formed his own realm, his domain. Within the planetary level, he is virtually invincible. As the first Yunmo planet member in 5 millennia, I still hope you will surpass them and become the strongest. The bald crystalline entity regarded Yang Wu with something almost like affection. This being was the central control intelligent core of the entire ancient civilization ruins. Not the pseudo-intelligent core Hong had mentioned, but a genuinely sentient core, with human-like wisdom and a faint trace of emotion. Its fundamental program was loyalty to Yunmo Planet. It considered itself a member of that world. Yunmo Planet had been a core bastion of power, and only those with genuine talent, determination, and insight could enter. Even a planetary-level fighter wouldn't qualify without those qualities. Yang Wu's talent had let him pass the tests easily, proving his endurance and comprehension, the kind of aptitude Yunmo Planet prized. That was rare, and the core's barely perceptible feeling hoped he would outshine everyone else on Earth. You have potential to reach astral rank, the core continued. With hard work, good fortune, and a proper teacher, there's even a slim chance of reaching universe rank. Yang Wu forced a nod. Slim chance. Good luck. A good teacher. Basically a 1 in a billion shot, he thought. If even his golden finger luck couldn't get him to universe rank, what was the point? He pushed the thought away. Go, the core said. Earth is your homeland. Cultivate well. If someday cosmic powers discover this place, the stronger you are, the better you can protect yourself. The passage is open. You may leave. Like a shower of light, the bald crystalline man dissolved, scattering into countless threads. The palace walls sighed and shifted, forming a passage of entwined dark brown roots that led to a glowing mirror, the same mirror he had used to enter the ruins. Ancient Civilization Ruins, Number 9, Underground Base. This base had been built and shared by multiple Earth forces, the 5 great powers, the 2 martial halls, the HR Alliance. Each had the right to send people here. The personnel were a mixed lot from different affiliations. Zhang Chan, clad in a white robe, stretched at her workstation in front of a console. The underground base was quiet. Apart from routine operations and relaying messages for gods of war, There wasn't much to occupy most members. There were office terminals and entertainment machines scattered about. Just a little more gaming than I can get off, she muttered, fingers flying. Suddenly, the ruin's entrance opened in an unusual way. Zhang Chan turned, startled. They only went in recently. How are they coming out so fast? Nearly 100 people in the hall looked up toward the main door at once. When the figure stepped through, a ripple of disbelief ran through the room. Is that Yang Wu? Welcome back, Yang Wu, several voices called as people crowded forward. A hubbub spread through the hall, but others went straight to duty, notifying their headquarters. Report, Yang Wu has returned. Reporting to command, China's god of war, Yang Wu, has returned. At the Dojo of Limit's global headquarters, housed in a massive spaceship tower, Hong stood on the top floor training level. Dressed in black, a long spear in his hands, he moved through a deliberate sequence. His motions were slow, but the air around him warped. The spear's tip blurred as if the world could not quite contain the motion. A sharp knocking sounded at the door. Hong frowned. Very few were allowed to break into his cultivation. Only the 5 inspectors and his 3 personal guards had that privilege. Whoever was at the door must have brought important news. Come in, he said coldly. The door opened. 2 of his masked personal guards and Inspector Liu entered together. Inspector Liu's face betrayed excitement. Hallmaster, Yang Wu has already come out. He broke the assessment record. Hong's expression changed. For the first time in a while, curiosity and something like eagerness crossed his face. So fast? He had expected interesting results. Great talent tended to reap great rewards, he thought, remembering his own past. Let's go. I'll personally welcome our Dojo of Limit's god of war, Yang Wu. Back at the human underground base adjacent to Ruins Number 9, Yang Wu was being tended to by protocol staff. God of War Yang Wu, the Hallmaster will be here shortly. He asked you to wait. Do you require anything else? No, I'm fine. Yang Wu waved off the 2 attendants, amused. With a snap of his fingers, the door closed. He was told that Hong himself had come. Yang Wu stepped outside and saw a distinctive blood-red triangular fighter jet parked nearby. The aircraft's door opened and the boarding ramp extended. Hong emerged first, black-clad, followed by masked guards and inspectors. Hong walked straight up to Yang Wu. Why did you come out so quickly? He asked, looking him over. Yang Wu kept a straight face and replied, I'm a natural genius. The assessment was easy. He delivered the line earnestly enough that it sounded ridiculous, and Hong could probably tell it was nonsense. But for now, it would do. Chapter 76. Surprised Hong had always believed Yang Wu was a prodigy. Still, if anyone claimed the test in the ancient civilization ruins was easy, Hong would have laughed. You've gained a lot, haven't you? He said, pulling Yang Wu by the arm with an expression of pleasant surprise. Come on, we'll talk more on the fighter jet. Yang Wu smiled helplessly and followed. The man in black, Hong, studied him closely. You were in there a long time. You must have hit a special test, Hong said. Did you get any secret methods from ancient civilization ruins number 9? As the top-ranked person on Earth, Hong had already received several technological inheritances from the ancient civilization ruins. But few things still surprised him. What made number 9 so valuable to Hong wasn't tech at all. It was a martial arts ruin. Yang Wu nodded. Yes, because my brain domain breadth is relatively high, I triggered a special death mission and was rewarded with a secret method. Yang Wu realized the bald crystalline entity had deliberately deleted much information from the Comwatch, not wanting humans on Earth to know its secrets. Only members of Yunmo planet were supposed to be fully informed. But sending a basic secret method posed no real problem, and Hong had helped him before. Yang Wu wasn't the sort to forget a favor. A death mission? Hong and the others were surprised. The man in black's face brightened. It truly was a death mission. What was the reward? It must be different from what the other gods of war received. Anyone who had succeeded in ancient civilization ruins number 9 before had always ended up with a black god suit. Yang Wu answered, There is a difference. I got a black god suit, but I also received a cultivational secret method for martial artists. He transmitted the secret method through his Comwatch. Dojo Master, I'm sending it directly to you, Yang Wu said. It should help you a great deal. Hong's eyes lit up. How thoughtful, he chuckled. Then, as the secret method slid into his watch, his expression changed, hair rising as if charged, then flattening again. An enormous emotional surge rippled through him. His gene power spiked without warning. For someone who had comprehended a domain, the control of gene power was absolute, so this uncontrolled surge spoke to the secret method's magnitude. Hong trembled. He stared at the watch as if possessed, reading the manual Yang Wu had sent. This kind of secret method? Unbelievable, he muttered. My world annihilation technique is far inferior compared to the basic 312 forms. Yang Wu only smiled faintly. It was no wonder Hong reacted so strongly. This was the basic 312 forms. It might look simple, but it was forged by an undying being. In the universe, that placed it among the highest quality manuals. Hong had been groping in the dark, crafting his own techniques. No self-made manual could match one authored by an undying. Take power exertion. In Hong's own Thunderblade 9 levels, the highest power exertion topped out at 7 times, consistent with some universal trends, but incomplete because it didn't synchronously boost defenses. The theoretical limit, however, was 100-fold. Reaching that would mean the body's potential had been fully unleashed. By comparison, ordinary martial artists on Earth were tapping only a sliver of their potential. What most used as full strength was barely 1%. Even the peak of Thunderblade 9 levels only accessed about 7%. Pushing to 100 times output, or beyond with techniques that increased body or soul amplitude, was exceedingly difficult. Even a golden-horned beast typically relied on talent manuals or special legacy techniques. Hong's comprehension was exceptional. He had even formed a domain. With a manual like this, a dramatic leap in strength was inevitable. A roaring laugh built in him until it burst free, an exultant sound that rolled like thunder. Yang Wu cupped his ears. The intensity of Hong's voice and gene power was almost painful. It's a pity this peerless manual is a blade technique, Hong said once he calmed, so it doesn't suit me perfectly, but with this guidance, my spear technique will definitely transform. The death assessment had been tailored for Yang Wu, so of course the basic 312 forms were blade-oriented. Hong's face was complex and lit with feverish intensity. He stood silent for a long moment before speaking, eyes burning. Yang Wu put the black god suit on a nearby seat. Hong smiled at his comm-watch. You're now planetary level, and you've come out of the ancient civilization ruins, he said. Our dojo of limits should hold a global live broadcast. I will personally confer upon you the title of Inspector. The appointment of the 6th Inspector must be announced publicly and on an important day. He pondered. January 18th or the 28th. Both are auspicious. You pick one. Yang Wu considered, then smiled. January 18th. Such a ceremonial title meant little to him. His ambition extended far beyond Earth, but he accepted. I'll have my subordinates arrange everything. You can prepare. As for the secret method, that is your contribution. In level and value, it's far superior to the manuals we devised ourselves. I can't show no appreciation. Hong grinned. I'll give you 200 stars as compensation. Stars were a unit Hong used for things that couldn't be measured in Earth money. 1 star could buy a portion of dragon blood. A black god suit cost 5 stars. A king-level intelligent fighter jet was 2 stars, a universe-level jet 15, and a Hong Huang-level intelligent fighter jet 60. 200 stars could be exchanged for 200 doses of dragon blood or 40 black god suits, or even multiple high-end jets. Yang Wu no longer placed much value on earthly goods, but a Hong Huang-level intelligent fighter jet to play with would be fun. You can exchange it when you assume the inspector post, Hong added. By then, I'll have most of the treasures you can pick from ready. Chapter 77, Planetary Level 6? Let's leave it at that for now. We'll part ways here. I imagine you, like me, have a lot to do. Yang Wu nodded. He did have a lot to do. Revisit Mist Island to try for the cloud-caressing vine, and above all, farm cultivation. Whether it was strengthening his gene power or comprehending the basic 312 forms in the Azure Dragon Blade secret method, everything demanded enormous cultivation. He exchanged farewells with the other Beyond War God level figures, then rose and flew off. Hong and Thunder God had a strong bond. Both had been born before the Great Nirvana era. Thunder God was mixed blood, of Chinese and Indian descent, and had grown up playful and carefree, with a strong love for Chinese kung fu influenced by films. During the Great Nirvana, their powers had leapt forward. Between fortuitous encounters and their talents, they pushed each other on. They were battle brothers who had gone through life and death together, a violent killer and a vibrant spirit, an odd but effective pairing. Yang Wu must have found a legacy left by a powerful being in the universe. That's why he has such refined secret methods, Hong said, watching Yang Wu go with hope in his eyes. Both he and Thunder God, like many counselors and senior officials, knew alien civilizations existed. To avoid panic among the masses, any unearthed alien ruins were always labeled ancient civilization ruins. In truth, they were remnants of universe-rank powerhouses who had once visited Earth. Most of those counselor-level powerhouses are content with the status quo, playing gods in front of ordinary people and losing ambition, Thunder God grumbled. But they never worry about what will happen when some alien civilization discovers us, Hong replied. Our Earth is too weak. In one ancient ruin I found, there was footage of a battle between two universe-rank powerhouses. They fought on a white dwarf under hundreds of millions of times gravity. I can't even imagine that. I've always feared the day universe adventurers find us, Thunder God admitted. Best case, we become the territory of a mighty being. Worst case, humanity is implanted with slave chips and sold off. Yang Wu's comprehension and talent have far outstripped both of ours, and he's obtained an extraterrestrial legacy. His future is limitless. That exquisite blade secret method should go to Thunder God, of course. Hong smiled. If Thunder God got it, he'd probably go even crazier than I would. Sure enough, when Thunder God received the secret method, he was so ecstatic he nearly tore down the Thunder Marshal Hall headquarters. Meanwhile, Yang Wu continued cultivating as he flew. He intended to spend the remaining cultivation on basic strength and gene power. First, 10,000 days of basic strength and gene power, he decided. Inside his mind, he resumed continuous cultivation day and night. His body absorbed massive amounts of gene power. As it entered, the strengthening effect on his cells was pushed to the limit. Bone density rose, cells contracted in size, one cell split into two, muscle tissue optimized, his body mass steadily increased. Yang Wu felt as if he'd trained 10,000 days. He knew every inch of the changes. 10,000 days of black iron level cultivation, counting original force, my basic punching power probably increased by around 300,000 kilograms, he estimated, clenching his fist. His body control and power output were high enough that he could sense roughly how much strength burst forth. When I was Black Iron 2, the ratio of cultivation invested to strength gained was about 1/5. Now it's 1/30. He thought it through. If I use Black Iron level cultivation now, my talent should be considered Black Iron 1. Black Iron 1 was only about twice as good as Black Iron 2, so the expected ratio would be 110, not 130. The dramatic improvement had a cause. He had already perfected the 9 Heavy Hunyuan, the guiding technique that accompanied the 9 Heavy Thunderblade. With that foundation, his efficiency at absorbing gene power shot up. The normal strength range from planetary level 1 to a peak planetary level 9 is roughly 2 million kilograms to 1.024 billion kilograms. He ran through the figures in his head. My life gene level is 3 times that of an ordinary person, so my potential at 9 peak would be about 3.072 billion kilograms. On Earth, talent improvement would be hard, and even if he did raise it, Black Iron level cultivation would still be treated as Black Iron 1. Practically, his future cultivation on Earth would remain dominated by Black Iron practices. At a 1:30 ratio, to reach planetary level 9 peak, ignoring decimals, I'd need around 100 million days of Black Iron cultivation. Even if he could farm 1 million days of cultivation in a single day, it would still take 100 days. Farming a day of cultivation per second non-stop would still only yield 86,400 days per day. Travel, rest, avoiding monsters and other interruptions made such numbers unrealistic. Barring exceptional circumstances like the previous rat tide, farming 1 million Black Iron days in a day was impossible. That doesn't even count the cultivation needed for the basic 312 forms and the Azure Dragon Blade, he muttered, feeling like cursing. The later stages of improving his power exertion level required exponentially more cultivation with diminishing returns. In contrast, gene power and physical training scaled more linearly. Given that, it's better to use my remaining 2 million plus black iron days first to improve basic strength, he decided, rubbing his chin. All black iron cultivation will go to basic strength and gene power. From the golden finger space, streams of energy surged around him and flowed through his limbs and bones. Chi and original force simmered. A golden mist flowed from the golden finger space into his body and gathered in his dantian. Original force poured in and spun, rapidly coalescing. One miniature planet formed in his dantian, then a second, a third, a fourth. As his strength rose, he was clearly becoming a master among planetary-level powerhouses. A standard planetary level 6, with basic strength exceeding 64 million kilograms, is considered to have 6 miniature planets, he reasoned. And yet I'm only officially counted as planetary level 4, but my basic strength has already reached nearly 80 million kilograms. Coupled with the 9 heavy Thunderblade 7x burst, my strongest attack has reached the threshold of a planetary level 9th rank's power. Forget the cloud-caressing vine. This strength was enough to go toe-to-toe with the Beast Emperor of Mist Island. Deep within Mist Island, on the Australia continent, Babata was stunned the last time he'd seen Yang Wu. But when he rescanned Yang Wu's data, a storm of excitement exploded inside him. Even if Yang Wu wasn't a Psyker Master, Babata seriously considered taking him as a disciple. 3 times the life gene level? He muttered. Isn't he from Earth? What kind of bloodline is this? The human races of the universe were immense, numbering in the millions, but they could be roughly sorted into 10 ranks. First rank human bloodlines normally reached Territory Lord rank by adulthood. Second rank reached Universe rank. Third and fourth reached Astral rank. Fifth and sixth reached planetary level. To Babata, the Golden Horned Beast, a World Lord rank, had a life gene level only 10 times that of a normal person. Yet Yang Wu's life gene level had jumped to 3 times baseline, a level even many Territory Lord bloodlines couldn't easily attain. What made it stranger was that the body Yang Wu had once been taken over by Hu Yambo only had a second rank, Universe rank bloodline. The last time Babata had seen Yang Wu, his bloodline had looked ordinary and his brain region width was nothing special. Now both his life gene level and brain region width had surged dramatically. He looked ordinary before, but now he's terrifying. He's not as simple as he seems, Babata thought, excitement and calculation mixing together. With a life gene level and brain region width like that, his potential must be off the charts. Even if he never becomes a Psyker Master, as long as he survives, he could lift Yunmo Planet up again. And he got the Yunmo Planet token in what Earthlings call the 9th Ruins. If the bald, crystal-skinned man in the 9th Ruins had been ignorant of the current state of Yunmo Planet, Babata was not. He understood fully what a rare find Yang Wu was. An existence like Yang Wu hadn't appeared even in Yunmo Planet's glory days. Now, in decline, it might be 50,000 times 50,000 years before anyone like him appeared again. If he can be nurtured, maybe he can restore my Yunmo Planet, Babata decided. The childlike Babata, only 1.45 meters tall, controlled the Muya crystals in his storage bracelet and began tossing them out of the hidden spaceship one by one. In the past, when selecting a successor for his deceased master Hu Yambo, Babata had once planted a cloud-caressing vine seed during the human Great Nirvana, the first era of human powerhouses, and fed it 3 Muya crystals so it would grow fast. A single Muya crystal could boost a peak god of war to the planetary level. 2 others had been ground into powder and absorbed by plants, forming so-called herbal spirits. A chain of events followed. Events like the arrival of Luo Feng in the original story. Luo Feng's brain region width had reached 21, the highest among Earthlings, and Babata had chosen him as Yunmo Planet's successor. Whoosh! Yang Wu descended, and the cloud-caressing vine reacted instantly. A dark purple tendril as thick as 20 centimeters whipped toward him, trying to coil and strangle him. Yang Wu simply reached out his strong, fair right hand and grabbed the vine like someone picking up a pair of chopsticks. The vine writhed and twisted with tremendous force, but it could not slip free of his grip. Buzz, buzz, buzz! The vine shrieked and spun frantically, but to no avail. The force is so intense, No wonder ordinary planetary-level experts couldn't deal with the cloud-caressing vine, Yang Wu thought. He formed a blade with his left hand and casually sliced. The vine took a 10-centimeter deep cut. After 2 or 3 seconds, the wound fused back together, showing the vine's terrifying regenerative ability, one reason it made excellent living armor. The struggle made the whole mist island shudder. More dark purple tendrils unfurled from the fog, each over 2,000 meters long. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. I think there should be 16, Yang Wu said with a faint smile. No matter how many vines tried to ensnare him, his exceptional physical quality and the black god suit he wore left him unharmed. He inspected the plant more closely. So this is the cloud-caressing vine, he observed. But it's wild. Subduing it will be troublesome, he smiled. Not a big problem. I've always subdued things with force. Then something odd tickled his nose. Huh? His expression changed. What's that scent? It smells like cooked rice. Rice fragrance? How can there be rice here? The smell was coming from the ground and was growing stronger. It wasn't far, perhaps within 100 meters. Yang Wu's eyes lit up. Muya crystals, he realized. The scent was familiar. Muya crystals emitted a rice-like aroma. He could guess why the cloud-caressing vine was here. Babata, deep under Mist Island in his disguised spaceship more than 10,000 meters below the surface, had set a trap. If he didn't want to be found, the ship's location would have been impossible to discover. But Babata had recognized Yang Wu as an exceptional talent, possibly the right candidate to inherit Hu Yambo's legacy, and he had tried to lure him with Muya crystals. Compared to the Yunmo planet inheritance, the cloud-caressing vine was secondary, mere bait or protection. Yang Wu frowned, caught between two thoughts. Even with his golden finger guiding him, the temptation tugged. He didn't want to snatch a future his friend might rightfully have. He had little desire to seize Luo Feng's chance. Yet the world is full of temptation. Herbal spirits, Muya crystals, even the Yunmo planet inheritance itself. It felt like knowing a friend's treasure lay buried beneath your feet while the friend didn't. That faint rice fragrance seemed to sense his hesitation and grew stronger, almost as if urging him on. At the same time, a small voice in Yang Wu's mind, an urge he couldn't entirely shrug off, kept pulling him toward the source. Hehe, whether or not I become a Yunmo planet disciple is beside the point. Muya crystals are valuable. Yang Wu's smile turned strange as if he'd just realized something. Even if I'm stealing Luo Feng's chance, getting a few Muya crystals to absorb for cultivation, to restore my original energy and stamina, is still a win. Muya crystals were treasures for cultivation and for raising tamed beasts and plants, extremely versatile. For example, the cloud-caressing vine cultivated with a Muya crystal could rapidly reach the astral rank, an invincible existence on present-day Earth. Muya crystals also contained abundant life force and original energy. Absorbing them could directly strengthen a practitioner and boost their endurance when hunting monsters. For Yang Wu right now, Muya crystals were a timely boon. Without hesitation, he dove into the underground lake and submerged. 15,000 meters beneath Fog Island, inside the Yunmo star node, Babata began a series of subtle operations. Target locked. Target has reached the surface. Begin guidance. A peculiar, undetectable wave slid through the earth, piercing rock layers in an almost straight line until it reached Yang Wu, who was searching in the dark. The fluctuation was invisible to eyes, instruments, and even original energy. It slipped directly into Yang Wu's soul. Huh? Yang Wu raised an eyebrow but then smiled. A subtle guidance. The methods left by an undying are indeed extraordinary. He appeared to be wandering aimlessly, but in truth he was following the suggestion, guided toward where he should go. Unlike Luo Feng in the original account, Yang Wu understood what Babata intended. He showed no resistance, however. Their interests weren't entirely opposed, and their goals weren't far apart. So he followed the invisible hint toward the Muya crystals. As he drew nearer, a faint fragrance of rice grew stronger. Ah, only a few dozen meters down, and I found a Muya crystal, he muttered. A white translucent crystal floated above the dark lake, casting a pale glow in the underground gloom. Yang Wu accelerated toward that faint light. Dozens of aquatic monsters in the lake stared at the crystal. The surface was streaked with blood and scattered limbs. A few of the beasts had tried to snatch crystals earlier but exploded and died after swallowing them, so the others were cautious. Now, spotting Yang Wu approaching, many lunged at him, hungry and desperate. A few fast ones even leaped up, trying to seize the crystal before he could reach it. "You're asking for death," Yang Wu roared. He drew his blood shadow battle blade and, with a few sweeping strikes, cut down one ruler-class monster after another. No leader could stand in his way. One unlucky creature that had swallowed a Muya crystal exploded on the spot, and Yang Wu's eyes lit up. He snatched the remaining crystal, tucked it away, and continued downward. He had already obtained a herbal spirit and knew Babata would provide more Muya crystals. So, yes, he was technically stealing Luo Feng's opportunity. But Yang Wu wasn't stingy. He'd give City Lord Luo a Muya crystal and the herbal spirit later. Luo Feng's future was terrifyingly bright, and it was wise to cultivate a relationship with him. 15 already, Yang Wu chuckled to himself. He wandered the caverns with surprising ease and had gathered 15 Muya crystals in short order. In the original account, the appearance of Muya crystals had drawn powerful figures from across the globe. Many fought to the death, and even several planetary levels perished, but few crystals were taken. Now, though, Yang Wu had simply wandered and collected many. Babata had indeed been targeting him. The deeper he went, the less deliberate Yang Wu became about direction. He relied more on feeling than on logic. Finding the Yunmo star node in such a vast underground area would normally be extremely difficult, but if Babata was guiding him, following the feeling made sense. He kept getting closer to an ancient cabin door. Far away from Yang Wu, inside an ancient black spaceship, a small figure stood in a spacious hall bathed in brilliant light. Babata, childlike, two little horns on his forehead and blood-red eyes, watched a three-dimensional holographic screen that displayed Yang Wu's slow descent. "I've waited so long. Finally, the successor has arrived," Babata murmured, eyes gleaming. "What a greedy little fellow. He's coming, hey." Babata smirked. "You, a native of Earth, how could you escape the grasp of me, Lord Babata? Come, come, little one. As long as you come and acknowledge my master as your own, and accept succession to my Yunmo planet." His tone dropped, and he looked toward the center of the hall with sorrowful reverence. "Master, it's been 50,000 years. You've been dead 50,000 years. I will follow your orders and cultivate an excellent disciple for you. I promise." In the ship's main hall, Babata watched the scene with eager anticipation. He'd worried that the attraction might not be strong enough, so as Yang Wu searched, he tossed out extra Muya crystals along the way. Yang Wu, pretending ignorance, kept picking up the unexpected finds. "In less than 10 minutes, I've gotten so many Muya crystals. Babata is really generous," he thought, pocketing another prize. Indeed, in the original story, a whole group of planetary levels had searched for Muya crystals, and it took them a long time to find even one. Perhaps Babata had been concerned the lure wasn't strong enough, so he scattered more crystals to make sure the chosen one would find them. Chapter 80, Calculate Each Other. "The strangest thing is, I walked all the way in and never saw the Beast Emperor," Yang Wu muttered. "And why didn't I encounter the primordial copper mother fragment that Luo Feng once found?" His tone was half bewildered, half annoyed. The primordial copper mother fragment was sharp and deadly, an excellent weapon even for warriors. Luo Feng had never used it much, so Yang Wu wouldn't have minded claiming it, but Babata hadn't offered it. Perhaps because the whole trip had been too easy for Babata, he hadn't bothered tossing anything valuable away. Yang Wu paced a few more steps, thinking aloud. "Wait, I've already come this far. Time to squeeze a little more out of him." He smirked. "At the very least, I'll milk this demon Babata for more Muya crystals." He did a quick mental estimate. At the current rate of gifts, he figured he'd have only about 100 Muya crystals by the time he reached the spaceship entrance. He licked his lips, a calculating smile spreading across his face. "It's a bit risky to go any deeper. Nah, not worth losing my life over. Better to turn back now." Yang Wu muttered the words loudly enough for Babata to hear. Babata had been watching him the whole time. The demon's eyes narrowed when he heard that mutter, and he spat out the apple he'd been chewing. The Muya crystals in his storage bracelet tumbled out as if they were worthless. With a gust, they flew out of the spaceship. Perfect. He took the bait, Yang Wu thought with satisfaction. Babada, you don't think I've only read Devouring the Heavens, do you? I've also read Legend of Martial Ancestor. Putting on an air of surprise, he sniffed the air and called out, "Oh my, it smells so good down there. Maybe there are more Muya crystals a little deeper. I'll risk it for a bit more." He turned and followed the scent. After only a few hundred meters, 47 clear-eyed Muya crystals lay before him. He feigned astonishment. Babada, from inside the ship, took the bait again and threw out more crystals. Come on, you ignorant earthling," the demon cajoled. "Foolish Yang Wu, if you didn't have a decent brain capacity and a decent life gene level, I wouldn't bother with someone so greedy and cowardly." Yang Wu kept playing the part. The deeper he went, the more crystals Babada scattered. At 5,000 meters, more flew out. At 6,000 and 10,000 and 11,000, the numbers kept growing. 88 pieces, one moment. 120 pieces, the next. 210 pieces. 300 pieces. That should be enough. By the time Yang Wu pocketed the last batch the demon had thrown, he'd plunged over 16,000 meters beneath the surface. Then something in the rock ahead shuddered. A thick stratum convulsed like a bubble popping, and the layer simply vanished. In its place, a half-open, dust-choked hatch emerged. The sight of it tugged at his mind as if an unseen summons called him in. He recognized the manipulation. Babada was trying to lure him further. Yang Wu pushed the impulse away with a laugh. "Do you think I don't know your tricks after tens of millions of years?" Babada chewed his apple and grumbled. "Humph. If you insist on being lured, I'll make you lose a little more." Yang Wu kept up his feigned surprise and stepped forward. With a thought, his black god suit reshaped, and with a shove of force, he pushed aside the surrounding rock. In moments, he'd opened a footpath at least 2 meters wide, enough for two to walk side by side. At the end of the new passage, a silver-white metal door, dust-covered and half-open like an intelligent fighter's hatch, waited. He extended his Psyker Master sensing into the hatch and saw what he had hoped for. On the floor near the entrance, Muya crystals glowed faintly with a white halo, packed densely, tens, then dozens. 200 to 300 pieces lay in a cluster. Even though he'd expected it, Yang Wu's eyes went red at the sight. So many. Babada, watching from inside the ship, chuckled with satisfaction. Come in quickly, foolish one," he muttered between bites. "Heh, they're all mine," Yang Wu said, and didn't hesitate. He darted into the passage. He wasn't worried about ambush. Babada was the one who'd been luring him with such lavish gifts. The demon wouldn't so easily harm someone he'd invested so much in attracting. Yang Wu squatted and began stuffing the clustered Muya crystals, one by one, into the black backpack on his back. The hatch corridor opened into a larger passage. He kept counting as he filled his pack. 10, 20, 30, he whispered, his hands moving fast. "There are 289 here." When he put the last crystal into his pack, his pulse felt like a drumbeat pounding in his chest. Each Muya crystal could let a 9th-stage apprentice break through to planetary level within a month. How many planetary levels were there on Earth right now? That was an immeasurable fortune. The kind people drooled over. He resolved not to reveal he had any of these crystals until he was far stronger. If even one of them were exposed, suspicion would follow and the complications would be endless. Explanations wouldn't help. That was human nature. His current strength might weather some trouble, but any turmoil would only slow his frantic cultivation. He had no intention of letting that happen.